Hi guys, and welcome back to another Let's Build episode. So last time we were building up the little village of Kliptoff, and now we're going to be expanding into the valley that is a part of that whole world. So with this we're going to be building up some fields, and also a mine and a lumberjack. Now if you're new to the channel at all, we do a lot of tutorials and time lapses just like this one, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, if you're new to the series at all, I'll leave a link in the description and also in the card to the full playlist if you want to get yourself caught up. So the first thing I had to do actually with this was build up a full kind of river and streams and everything like that because I didn't have it from the World Painter map. And then, yeah, also extend a kind of road going from the main town. I wanted to really kind of like flesh this out, kind of give me some ideas, give me a base to go from. And roads always work quite nicely to cut up your land and actually, well, natural places are going to appear from there, and in our case, some farms. So I wanted to go with like a quite nice hedge kind of row going along the sides of this. And later on I do mix in some stone as well with some of the other farms. I tried a couple different techniques, and one of them was to kind of like colour in the entire ground and then switch it to farmland, and then with the yellow wall on top actually replace that with some seeds. It didn't work very well at all, but I gave it a go anyway with World Edit to see if it would actually be quite quick, but because the farmland turned to dirt, didn't quite work. So we've got one wheat field in the back that we just built. I also want to use, kind of get some variation with a lot of these. And yeah, so what we're going to go for next is actually some carrots and also potatoes. Even though potatoes aren't native to kind of like medieval Europe, I still wanted to actually add those in because in Minecraft we've only got a limited amount of veggies. So it can always be pretended as something else, some other root veg that we're going to have, which is more native. So of course, because we've got some wheat, we're going to need some way to actually make grain. So there's this really nice spot, like right in front of the actual town itself, and like a nice hill where we've got a path. So to me it just made a lot of sense. I can imagine it being quite windy on the cliffs, and therefore this probably should get quite a lot of wind as well. So we've got a nice windmill on the top here, and that kind of like completes a nice bit of a chain. So we've got some wheat growing that then come here, get turned into your actual kind of grain, your kind of flour even. And then from your flour, that can then be transported into the town and in sacks, for example, and yeah, can be turned into bread, as you can imagine. So here we go, just using this like small spot here to build a small potato farm. Another thing that I don't see a lot in Minecraft is actually pasture. So pasture is basically fields that can be used for animals to go and graze and eat a lot of grass. In the area that I live in the UK, we've got quite a lot of coast, so it's quite a coastal area, and I see this all the time, like all the time, like these old cobblestone walls along the cliff with kind of fields where they're just let out, for example, sheep to actually go and graze. And because you can't really grow any crops here, it's the perfect kind of space for it, and it just fits perfectly in the front. So it's a different idea of trying to kind of look at what's around me as well, and I advise you guys to do the same. Go out and have a look and just kind of like see how everything is and how, if anything's changed as well, if it's modern or if it's not modern. In this case, I can imagine it being quite there for a very long time. So coming down to this bottom part, I added in another road and decided to build 3 whole fields in one go. Now before, most of the fields just had crops in them, but also what would actually happen is they'd have crop rotation in medieval times. So I wanted to really mix this in and make sure we weren't having just every field full, although in Minecraft it does look a lot better when we do have that. So I have left a couple of them blank, or actually I think I've only left one of them blank, and then added in some crops into the other ones, this time using actually beetroot as well. Now before we had all the houses and kind of like living places inside the village, but as the village would have expanded, what we would end up having is like small farmhouses kind of like pop up, and yeah, just like quarters around there, even though it's not as kind of like safe, especially when we had with the main storyline with pirates and bandits around this area. Still the poorer people that are just working in the farms would definitely be around here. So I built these 2 small houses here and also gave them a garden. So this is really, really common in medieval times, that you would actually have your own garden with your own crops in there. Yeah, it's either that or part of the field as well you would end up renting from the lord, and to pay back the lord you would actually be farming his land. So it's the way it kind of like worked in medieval times. So coming up to this area here, there was this like perfect spot for a nice little mining camp. And I actually want to make it a real mining camp, not just like a mine where you just have an entrance and it doesn't really go anywhere. I actually wanted to have it as a serious operation where people would actually come here who are unemployed, would actually come into this area and actually be able to stay as well. So they'd be paying a little bit of rent to whoever owns the mine, but then they'd probably they would definitely make more money from the actual ore that they're digging out for the work that they're actually doing, and get that out. So I built a smelter in the back and these 2 buildings, one of them being the owner of the mine's house, the foreman, or maybe he's just the foreman instead rather than the actual owner of the mine. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with actually how this little area turned out, especially when we kind of cliffed this out with a lot of the cobblestone. And I also wanted to make a big pile as well of stones down the bottom. Where do all the stones go after it all gets broken up as they're mining through? Then the next kind of big industry, of course, is wood. So we've got lots and lots of trees around. You need firewood. You also need wood to build things. So building a nice big lumberjacks area was something that I really wanted to build, and a nice kind of lodge. And it is quite a big lodge. So the front part of it, the big open part, that's where is actually a big wood store. So they could cut down a whole tree and put the entire tree pretty much in there. So then it can be cut into either smaller planks or kind of be worked from there, so they can actually do it in stages. And I wanted to make it kind of where, again, similar to the mine, where people can come and they can then work, and they'll pay a bit of rent inside this house for whoever actually owns the lumberjack. So then or lumberjack kind of house lodge, let's call it. And I got a nice little area outside as well, where we've got a nice saw. So I was pretty happy with how that all turned out. So having a look at it overall, we've got that windmill as we come out of Kliptoff. That would be then getting all of the grain. Then we've got a couple of the fields in the back there. So for this one, we've actually got quite a lot of variation. Maybe need to give it a bit more colour in Minecraft and make it look a little bit more interesting. So we've got potatoes, we've got some carrots, and we've also got, of course, wheat. So we've got a couple of different wheat fields. So I've tried to make one of them look quite lush in the background, the one that's really yellow, and then the other one I've made kind of a bit more sparse, as if it's just growing or it's started to be picked. We've got one field which has been fallowed, which is completely empty, and it's waiting for basically nutrients to grow over that again. And we've got some beetroot in the background. We've got those 2 different farmhouses. And of course in the back we can also see the mine and the lumberjack. I'm really happy with how this entire part has actually turned out. I think it adds a lot to Kliptoff in general. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.